is a game for the brave, the patient, and the lucky. 72 of the world's best players are taking their seats. For some, it's their livelihood. For others, it's a hobby. But for all, it's a challenge they want to conquer. There have already been some highs and some lows. 9 players have won their place in the semi-final, while some of the favourites have been sent packing. Jessie May is joined by Roland de Wolf for the story so far.
Inform could be an overused word, but not when it comes to Roland de Wolf. But Roland, this tournament, the informed players have gone out. The Devilfish down, yourself knocked out first. What's going on?
Well, the strategy in these tournaments are very different to the 7,000 and 8,000 runner tournaments that we're used to. You only got 6 players to get past. Slow early on, the tortoise, and we probably played more like hares.
I mean, sometimes the guy that goes out first is sometimes the guy who is trying the hardest to win.
Yes, I think sometimes it's, if you sit back, you probably got an even chance of winning amongst the same of the other competitors. But if you try and make it, your percentages go up. So first out is often the best.
Well, today, kind of a tough lineup. Players we all know, Marty Smith, who won the Irish Open, and Rocky Ross Boatman.
Yeah, Marty just picked me to the Irish Open, and Ross was out at Bellagio for the World Poker Tour Championship, and both banging form. And they're going to have some competition today. It's going to be a really interesting heat. Both experienced in this heat, the 2 Blackpool lads, Howard Plant and Simon Zack. You know, they're tough competitors, and they're always there or thereabouts in these sort of things. Roy Brindley's very experienced in this sort of format too, and he's definitely going to be one who is hard to get past. And the wild card, Dave Broadhurst, who also has done well in these things. So it really is a pretty open heat, as open as you've got. There's no huge, overwhelming favourite.
The World Travellers meet Blackpool, or is that how it's going to pan out? Let's meet the table.
Hi, I'm Marty Smith. I live in Belfast. I've been playing poker for 5 or 6 years. I'm looking forward to today. I don't really have any expectations. I just want to enjoy it, and if I win, it'll be a nice bonus. I think it's a pretty tough table. I think I could have had a bit more luck with the draw, but I'm not too fazed. I think I was as good a chance as anyone. Yeah, I suppose my confidence is a little bit higher than usual because I just won the Irish Open, but at the same time, maybe I've used up all my luck winning that tournament. I don't know how I'll be out. Hopefully I can carry things on. Fingers crossed I'll do well.
My name's Simon Zack, I'm from Blackpool. I've been playing poker for 6 years now. I'm feeling good today. Just get out there and see how it goes. I'm confident today because I'm a reasonable enough player. We'll see how the cards go, and there's nobody out there that really scares me. So I'd like to win it. Just see how it goes.
I'm David Broadhurst. I'm known as the Steelman. I come from Birmingham. I've been playing for 5 years, and I feel good today. I've played a few before, no rivalry, but it should be a good game.
I'm Roy Brindley, and I'm a professional poker player, and I'm here to go to work for the day. How I'm feeling is good, but have you seen 4 uglier guys in all your life? And I'm sat between 2 of them, so no, we'll see how we go. I'm relaxed. The days of having butterflies and these things is long gone. I've got the ability of putting all my chips in with no outs, no draw, no nothing. But I'm making myself favourite because I'm giving them a chance of passing. So I think that degree of fearlessness always catching good stead.
My name's Howard, the Magician Plant, because I can make money disappear. I come from Blackpool. I'm terrified. I don't think I could possibly win with this lineup. In fact, I don't want to play really, but I'm going to do it because I've paid. If I'm going to win, I'm going to have to get lucky.
I'm Ross Boatman. I'm from London. I've been playing regularly since I was about 18 years old, which is quite a long time now. And I feel good, I feel relaxed. I've got a bit of history with a couple of them. But yeah, they're all lovely guys. They're all good players. There's one guy I haven't met before. But yeah, I know the rest of them. They can all play. So I've got my work cut out. I know I'm very good on my day. Sometimes I don't play so well. I'm not sure if I'm any better than any of them. But I'm certainly good enough to win.
There's your 6, but we will thin them out. The chips on the table, 1,000 are the yellow chips. Blues are 2, reds are 5. 600,000 per player, 600,000 on the table.
It was cold.
Power Plant's our joint chip leader at the moment.
The plant, as they call him, from Blackpool. I mean, Howard's one of those guys who's been on the scene just since the early days. I think he played in the very first televised poker event, and
You'd have thought he would have improved a little bit. What sort of plant is Howard?
right now it's looking like ivy.
Definitely not Phil Ivy.
No.
Poison ivy.
Maybe poison ivy. That's not bad. If you get too close, you have to start itching yourself.
No raise.
Simon Zach. He's another solid player from the same town as Howard Plant. They're from the same greenhouse, Blackpool. Simon, I played against in the UK Open and also in the EPT in Dublin.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think Simon actually made the final table out of it. You got 5th. I think he was 6th or something like that.
Yeah, I think I was 4th actually, Jesse.
I'm sorry.
Doing me down. You know I'm always out in the first 3 in these sort of events. But, I normally come in the top 6 in any of these events that I play, but I also come in top 6 in all the multi-table events I play.
Exactly. You just haven't. But let's see. I think Marty's bet this on the turn here with the up and down. And Zach's made the flush on the river, but there's
Check.
two pair on board. Not exactly a huge pot. You think there was an excuse for Simon to bet that, or can he not really get paid?
Well, I would definitely have bet it, but then I'm a very thin value better. Most players are just going to check there because they're scared that the guy has a 7 or a 5, which obviously I can't really have either, and you'll find out pretty quickly if he does. That's why I would bet. I think it's a fairly safe bet, you know.
You can only make that kind of bet if you're willing to fold to the raise, huh?
Indeed. Sometimes.
I like that term, a thin value better. Call that a wafer value better. Yeah.
Pass.
Where's got his chip stacked up nice.
I like to generally in those situations.
Pass.
If I bet and get raised, I'll put them on any. I'll think of the hand that I can beat and then put them on it.
The creative put. That's what I call it.
Pass. Raise. 4,000 total.
You start by looking for draws that have, see which ones have missed, if any. And if they've all hit, then you go for the stone cold bluff.
I'm surprised how you say that, because curiosity is not really a good characteristic in a successful poker player. I mean,
check.
It's always been what's
6,000.
plagued me.
I'm not really curious. I don't really care. It's just a pride thing.
4,000 total.
You will not be bluffed.
On TV, it's not good to be bluffed. I mean, I don't think any French player's ever been bluffed in any pot. If you beat a French player, you have the best hand.
Broadhurst. Cool. They call him the Steel Man.
Why is that, Jesse?
I think he owns a steel factory.
Right.
No, he's made of steel. I mean,
did he have the Gloria Estefan thing where they inserted the wood in his back?
I think Dave is from the Midlands. He's played a couple of these. He hasn't really gotten his share of the cards.
Howard Plant's an interesting character. His face actually looks the same, even if you turn his head upside down.
Raise to 8,000 total.
Look at him. He is one of the great. Oh my gosh.
Gambling again, Ross. And this could be. It's an unfortunate situation.
Well, I mean, what's happened is Plant decided to limp in with the ace-queen, which was a little bit unorthodox, wasn't it? And so this is only the first raise that Ross has made with the aces. I guess that's why Marty's called. I mean, it is pretty unorthodox to limp in with the ace-queen in first position, isn't it?
First position, and you're mad enough to raise.
No respect, eh?
That's what I was thinking. I'm just looking into the same colour.
What's he going to do here?
I know somebody got 2 broken ribs.
That's tight, isn't it?
That's a good fold there from Howard Plant.
It is.
Ross Boatman's reputation goes before him. I'm impressed with that fold from Howard Plant. I would have lost my money if I was betting on his actions. Well played, Howard.
You would have also lost your money if you were sitting in his seat.
No, I would have hit running queens on the flop. There would be queens, not kings, on that flop if it was me.
5,000.
How should Marty Smith be thinking about this? played many hours with him.
I mean, he's a solid player, but he's likely to think that he has the best hand. He's entitled to. I mean, I put Ross on ace queen. That's how it works. At least take one off on the turn.
Is it better to take one off than to stick a raise in as far as your stack goes?
Yeah, in this sort of tournament where the stacks aren't deep, then I would say it's better to take one off. Raising is really committing yourself.
That's kind of changed nothing from Marty's point of view. He wouldn't figure Ross to have a 9.
I wonder how Ross is going to play this, because Marty could have a king. He has called.
It's one of the cards a guy's likely to have if he calls your ace cold, isn't it?
Check.
Yeah.
Check.
Now Ross knows he has the best hand. The instant check, and Ross will be betting the river if he's got anything about him. And yeah, that's it. Oh, the flush has come now. Ross decides he is going to value bet. It's a safe bet.
You can't be scared of your own shadow, can you?
It's a very small bet. Looks like a blocking bet. Marty calls without hesitation. Oh, no hesitation, but he's not folding this. Although he really can't beat much now.
Just thinking that. I mean, if Ross had something like ace queen, he'd just be happy to check it, wouldn't he? Or would he be more likely to
bet bigger? This bet is small. It's 8,000 into 31. It's screaming of "Please call me," or 9,000 into 30. Yeah, 8,000 into 31.
That's what Marty's thinking. So if Ross had nothing, like Queen Jack or something, he would make a serious bet, would he?
Cool.
Well.
Aces again.
Nice to see you gambling again, Ross.
You have jacks?
No, fairly small.
I'll put him on jack.
And a good start there
I'll put one something smaller.
for Ross. Boatman.
These players have developed to putting their opponents on hand.
Shut up.
Who will be snapping up a place in the semi-finals? Join us for more action after the break. This is the partypoker.net World Open 3. 72 players are battling it out for a slice of that $500,000 pie, but only one of the 6 will make it through to the semi-final. Let's head back over to Jessie May and Roland DeWolf.
One level has been played, and Ross Boatman has won a full 8 hands. Not always with the best hand either. What else is in this for you?
I think that the Marty Smith has not performed to the best of his game so far today. Howard Plant, the other 3, 4 and 5, Plant, Brindley and Zach are all manoeuvring for position, sitting pretty tight.
Yeah. I mean, you could lines are 2,000 and 4,000 now. You could sit here and say that Roy Brindley has been too tight, but at the same time, if he can change gears, like I think he will, then his table image is gonna be fantastic. I mean, it always seems to work. If a guy sits there for 2 levels and doesn't move,
Yeah, the kid knows.
even if it just starts, people know he's gonna start stealing the 3rd level. It's just so powerful, isn't it?
the price
It is.
of every single
Image
poker
is a
hand
very
there is, but you
important thing in
can't count
poker.
to 21.
He could have just. He's good enough.
I once folded on the small blind.
It's Irish image. You fold for 1 or 2 hands to create a tight image.
I tell you, there's no better place to play poker than Ireland in Europe. It really is fantastic.
He's 4.
The laugh we have there and the hospitality shown.
When the tournament ends for the night has just begun, hasn't it? And Marty Smith, is he desperate here? 8,000.
He's desperate.
Cool.
8,000 in second position with the ace-5. He's not going to like getting called twice. Certainly not by Broadhurst in the plan.
I should have called slower, made it look like I've got a bad hand.
An ace flop with 2 diamonds.
Yeah, get the money in. Well,
checking.
both Plant and Dave kind of convince himself they have something here. Broadhurst with the straight draw. Why did he just take this?
20,000.
That's a big bet. Geez, Dave's really come to play tonight, hasn't he?
I'm impressed by this. He's not sitting back. He's taking the opportunities. It's all been checked to him.
Howard is. Do you think Howard's going to call?
I think
him?
Howard's seriously considering calling off a quarter of his stack with second pair out of position.
No, you don't. No, you don't. I mean, you've never seen the Steelman play before, but I think he's been down on himself a little bit the last couple times on playing a little too conservative too early, and he's what?
Cool.
There you go, Jesse.
See the trouble you got me into?
What? But I mean,
I took a read.
Somebody's in trouble. Yeah,
what's Howard thinking about here?
I do not know, but now he's in tow.
But it was just so unlike Howard playing, wasn't it? He's a pretty cozy player.
Oh, I'll be gone in a minute, won't I?
He's been impressive, but now he's got himself into
a pickle?
A vat of pickles.
An entire cage of brine. I mean, the bet now is 20,000 again.
I mean, this is the sort of hand where the turn card king, no draw is hit. So if he had the best hand on the flop, if Broadhurst had a hand, he's still, it's just bleeding chips though. That is a bad, and Howard knows it. I mean, he know. You can look at his face. He knows he's made a bad play.
Yeah. You know, if he had raised there on the flop, Roland, he might have gotten away then. I mean, obviously that would have taken a lot more, but...
If someone in 3 years from now, I'll be long gone.
I think we may actually see the second Howard plan from this point forward. This is Howard singing the blues.
The first time I met him, he came up to me and asked if I wanted to play backgammon. I don't actually play backgammon, but I've seen him around Europe carrying his backgammon case.
He's a very good backgammon player. There's a great story about Howard. You know, he owns a few car parks around about the Blackpool. He's sort of a car park don. I think he used to have some kind of home game, and if someone was winning in the home game and they wanted to leave, Howard would call someone and get the person's car clamped, so they wouldn't be able to leave. They'd have to come back in the game. It's a great technique.
The nice thing about Ross Boatman is he's a popular guy, and because he was a celebrity, he's a well-known actor as well.
Yeah.
They let him bring his own dealer today.
He is getting the run of the ball so far, isn't he? Aces and now queens.
10,000.
And he's making a raise where I think he could get sort of action on anything reasonable. Nobody's got anything reasonable at all, do they?
Tell you what.
You're a bluffer, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm bluffing. Always got my fingers in the till, Howard, you know what I mean?
Well-timed advertisement.
Some people make it look dead easy, don't they?
Well, it is when you get dealt hands like that.
Don't put yourself down, Ross.
Isn't it great how he did that? I mean, he just turned those over in such a way as no one would even accuse him of just doing that purely for advertisement. I mean, he is a good actor, isn't he?
He is. I don't know, London's Burning was a fantastic success for many years, and he still gets recognised when we go on tour as an actor first and a poker player second.
And there's the brother of Barney third. And then Mobster fourth.
Cool.
He's a good guy, Rob. He's funny.
Barney doesn't like it anymore when I say that he's my favourite player in Team Rambaswani. I told Barney yesterday.
Check.
I was out with Ram in Kensington Park with Ram's wife Jackie, and Ram ended up hurting his back very badly. Slipped a disc, and I was out in the park and
5,000.
called up Barney and I said, Ram's really hurt his back. And Barney was explaining, what's the punchline? I'm expecting a punch.
Well, Ram's not used to being outdoors. He's been playing poker for about 27 years straight. Shouldn't be doing
It's
anything.
actually surprising how little poker Ram actually plays. He gambles a lot. He plays very little poker. It often seems even in the tournament is mere interruption of his daily waging. But Ross is not a gambler. He's a solid poker player.
Cool.
Yeah. And a limp in
Raise
from
12,000
Broadhurst
total.
here, 4,000. And Roy had a quick think and has decided to himself that Broadhurst is limp and weak. He's right in this case. Just a little bit weaker.
Plus.
Roy's raised at 8,000. Roy's looking very strong to me. Of course, as you said,
Plus.
maybe I'm a bit influenced. You couldn't accuse him of doing anything wrong yet, could you?
No, he's played solid.
Yeah.
I've seen Roy does have a few aspects for his game, and I think he has some talent in the game in certain areas.
Commentating.
Yeah, for certain he's a good commentator, but he can play well as well. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but he can play well too. I
mean, if you look at his record in this particular one-table format, it is pretty awesome. I don't know if there are more than 5 or 6 guys who've got a better record than Roy in this.
He came into the game very quickly. He had a sort of a meteoric rise, and a struggle to maintain that. But he definitely has a big result in him, I think. He knows some of the fundamentals of the tournament strategy.
12,000. Plus.
And Roy folded King-Queen offsuit under the gun that time. And not ready for it. Ross, though, has got more chips and a great image right now. Just raising at will.
Plus.
Another 6,000 for the Rocky. What do they call him, Rocky?
Possibly to do with his style of play, possibly not. You judge for yourself. I've noticed, discussing this the other day with my friend Thomas, the Walrus. Saying, you know, people, they play so tight, they ante themselves down, and then they do something crazy and put it in a horrible spot.
What do you call that? The one-shot wonders.
I call that.
Well, Broadhurst here he's done a lot of limping in, and now he's limped in, I guess, to trap here with the ace-queen. If Marty Smith slips this, Marty might decide there's a stealable pot. He's looking at his watch. Is that the Dan Harrington? If it's within the 57th or 58th second, I'm going to go all in and be out of this tournament. Geez, if he pumps this, he's a goner.
He's thinking too. The only thing is now, once you start to think so long, he's starting to look weak.
I'm just wondering if perhaps he decided he was going to bluff only if the
Actually,
clock was between 0 and 50.
I don't think Marty realizes it's on him. I'm going to go out and say that I don't think he realizes it's on him.
He's already checked, you're saying?
Yeah.
I think you're right. That's what happened, isn't it? 7 or jack. And has Marty missed a bet already? Jeez, Ross is
6,000.
brutal. And ooh, is it just obvious that the all-in would win because we can see the cards, or is there anything else he can take from that?
Well, this is
sort of an ambitious call there. By,
gin for Broadhurst.
Ross can hardly believe what's happened. He said, if you guys had anything to call with, why didn't you just bet it on the flop? It did not cost me any money.
10,000.
Good value bet there by Broadhurst.
Plus.
An odd little pot, hasn't it? Is it
Plus.
in a sense, couldn't anyone have won that pot?
Well, Ross tried and couldn't. So I don't think he could have won the pot. A raise, perhaps, instead of a call on the turn by Marty could have won it, but in the end it came down to who had the best hand, was Dave Broadhurst. They were all involved there on the turn with absolutely nothing. They were like 3 golfers walking towards the flag with their balls in the bunker.
That's a good analogy. And
Cool.
so I think Dave Broadhurst is feeling very good about things. He's got 150,000. I don't think Howard Plan is feeling very good about things at all.
No, I don't know. Does he have a tendency to blow up, like Mike Madisell? Howard, or is it?
Howard blows up a little bit more like General Patton.
Raised to 16,000 total.
Luke Patton?
No, yeah. no, General Patton.
Pass.
I was speaking to Mike the other day. I liken Mike to. Mike's like a guy who can play good poker, but mainly plays abhorrent poker. And he's like the guy who hits a great round of golf. He hits a 65, averages a 95, and then considers himself a 65 golfer.
Funny thing about Mattis, though, is he manages to
stay in action.
Well, he manages to play that best poker. I mean, I know it's not very often, but often enough to still make an impact.
I'm all in.
All in.
Wow. What kind of bet is that? It's a 120,000 bet into a 42,000 pot. What is the thinking?
I don't like that bet. But the reason I don't like it is because so many times people walk into the nuts and you do the maximum. The flip side of it is that he doesn't let anyone take the initiative there.
He's not going to let them get the chips in first.
He can't check, and he doesn't want to raise and then be re-raised and have to call.
Oh god, this is actually stop. Sorry.
Sometimes, so he had an odd chip size, didn't he?
He did. It was just in that range where, you know, the pot being such that if he checked, he could give the free card. He wanted the action to end there and then. And if he just bet, it would allow a big ace or a big king to come over the top with the king of hearts, and he'd be forced into a decision. It's very nice to put the other opponent to a decision for their chips, and that's what Ross did. Having said that, it looks okay when the guy folds, but if the guy does have the hand, you've done the absolute maximum.
Roy folding the ace-10, Plant limping in. I really like what you say, because it seems to me that a lot of people in this format, and maybe in tournaments especially, don't think about who's going to get the money in first.
But, you know,
they make a bet, and then the other guy, they allow him to get the money in.
You know, sometimes it's nice. I mean, if for example, you've got 20,000 in chips, and you get your blind raised to just 3,000. It's often nice to bet the flop with 3,000 in your hand. Then you're forcing to lead out, and you're forcing the other guy to either raise you all in, you know, which is all his chips, or fold. Sometimes you can be
checked on the flop.
Sometimes you want to put the guy in that position.
You can't go out.
It's putting your chips. You only need to put a small portion of your chips out, and they've got the decision for theirs. They can't call. They either have to raise or fold. So you're actually.
We saw that last week, actually. I think Ian Cox did that very well against Aaron Bloom.
You're manipulating the bet size. Yeah.
And everybody's basically got the same hand here, which is a gut straight draw and nothing else. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? And it's Howard Plant who's let out here, hasn't he?
Yeah. So often in these things, the first to bet is the one who takes it down.
Nice smile from Howard. When you think, he hasn't exactly gotten the rush of cards tonight, has he, so far? In fact, any pots he's won have been bluffing. Put himself in it like that.
You don't play that many hands. You know how you get a pair of aces, 1 in 210 hands. That's often you get a pair of aces before the flop.
I know you've read that, Roland, but someone was telling me with you it was only 1 every 50.
When I'm running bad, yes. But you know, we played 33 hands. We figured to play maybe 150. So you're statistically, you might see one big player in the heat.
Right.
You have to get busy at some point, and Roy Brindley seems to know that the right time to get busy is later on.
Yeah, Marty Smith, I think he made the move all in, and Roy with the quick call. He's right here. Great spot for Brindley. Smith's got live cards, however.
It is live cards, but the gingerbread man is in severe danger of being caught.
Yeah.
My favourite.
His house is on fire.
London's burning actor Ross Boatman won't be there to put it out this time. That's a terrible card for.
Takes away the 7 of hearts.
It does.
Has to be a king or a 7 of clubs or 7 of diamonds.
5 outs. That's not it. We lose our first casualty. The gingerbread man, Marty Smith, Irish Open champion.
Yeah, last in the Irish Open, first out today.
See you in Ireland.
And as you said, Roland, you probably feel like it is his best game. Smith forced to move, he thought. Had the face card. But Roy woke up with a big hand and a big blind, and that was pretty much all she wrote, Roland.
We are down to 5.
I crippled myself with that hand fairly early on. I made a big bluff. Unfortunately, my timing was a bit off. I thought maybe the guy didn't have a king, and apparently it was wrong. Apparently, well, Shimmy had at least a king. After that, it was never going to be easy. I was just having to stick my chips in with any sort of half hand I got. And unfortunately for me, I ran into a big hand with Roy.
This is a tough heat and our players are being flushed out. This is a dangerous game, but who will be on top of the world tonight? Join us after the break to find out.
Two levels in the books. And Roy, the boy, Brindley, tightest player at the table with all the chips here, Roland. Ross still got plenty, and everybody else kind of slotting in behind. The line's now 3 and 6,000, and Ross Boatman just said, "All right, boys, the crapshoot begins here." Is that an accurate statement?
I would never ever describe any of Matchroom Sport or their subsidiary tournaments as a crapshoot.
But I mean, do you think there's sort of a change in attitude, where is that there comes a time when you can't back away from a race?
Yes, very much so. You just have to put your money in when you've got something decent and hope to be lucky. And it's a fantastic cup of tea I've just been brought.
Howard's just limped in with the 2 6s, and Ross has got about 132,000. Ace-9 suited. Ooh, he's having a bit of a think here. Is limp? How many options does he have? Well, obviously the aggressive.
Yeah, 17, Jesse.
Raise to 12,000 total.
He's decided to make a minimum raise. I mean, the purpose of that, I guess, to try and narrow it down to him and Howard.
And
6 and 6.
the raise takes the initiative on the flop, so it's a dual-purpose raise.
I guess in case Plant is slow playing a huge hand here. Ross is having a hard look. I mean, if Howard's got the all-in here, then...
It's hard to go all in for 114,000 when there's 10 in the pot.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not the best hand.
Well, he still does, actually, but it's 3 overcards to Plant 6s. How do you think this will go?
Check, check.
I'm glad I missed.
Wow.
I'm glad I missed. You must have a good hand.
I suppose Ross can't really check there.
But Ace King is only.
If he checks, he's sort of giving up on the hand. There's not really something that Howard would record the raise with. That Ace-9 is now beating. So yeah, Ross did actually have to bet. The strong right arm of Ross Boatman.
Yeah, very good. I mean, I guess from Howard's point of view, 2 cards 10 or above, even if Ross had missed, if he had something like Ace King, King Jack, Ace Jack, here's a dog maybe, I don't know.
You know Ross turned down a part in Lock, Stock and 2 Smoking Barrels.
Well, I should have known about it.
Good career move there.
Turned out a part in a Woody Allen movie, I understand, to play in the World Series main event.
Okay.
That's a badge of honor, though, is it?
You know.
I would have taken a part in the Woody Allen movie myself.
I think I would too. The main events are getting harder and harder. Well, that depends which
Raise
part.
to 18,000 total. Pass.
2 in a row here for Ross.
Pass.
Definitely looking like a gear change from Rocky.
Pass.
That counts as a flat call.
I'm on the big line. I can
Yeah, it
pass this.
still counts as a flat call.
Do you want to see me go out first or something?
I was just speaking with Howard. He's in very good form, I'll tell you what. Look at that smile.
Well, he is. He just questioned to Simon, do you want me to see him go out first? Neglecting the fact that Marty Smith was our 6th place finisher. He can play very bad, Howard, but he still won't be able to go out first. Actually, he's played rather well so far. He's made one mistake with the Ace-9, but apart from that, I think he's been solid. And he's got away from situations like the Ace-Queen before the flop, when Ross had 2 aces. So.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? He's got a lot of experience, Howard. Zach in pretty bad shape, 34,000, and
he is. And the antis are getting up and coming round.
Raise.
No, there's only one winner here, and they all really want it. You can sense that when you're out on the table how much everyone wants to win. You know, they've all travelled down to London to play this from Blackpool, and Roy Brindley lives in London. They've all come here to win. You know, it's not about being on TV or making up the numbers. They really want this, and now you're getting down to the business end of things. You'll feel the determination.
Broadhurst is at top pair. Talking about that, I mean, I think most players come to this format feeling like the heat is the toughest situation you're going to face. I mean, once you get past this heat stage, the semifinal's a different ballpark altogether. You know, you can really feel like you can play poker at that stage.
Well, there is a lot more. I mean, when I was in my last semi-final that I made, I managed to just pick up all the chips because, you know, everyone else was playing for second, and there's more strategy. The first is really tough to win.
Yeah, it was a shame to see you get all those chips and then give them away in the final table. No, through no fault of your own, to be fair.
It was nice. I had ace queen. I flopped top pair. Came, and I turned 2 pair.
And managed not to do all your money.
So Dave Clayton's 4 of a kind.
Right.
Queen 8-5 flop and ace queen. No good. Queen 8-5-5. Against 4 5s, obviously. Did the minimum.
Yeah, you really did. You checked. Called the whole way. It was amazing. Zach here has ace queen in the big blind, and I guess he feels like it's a big enough hand that he is almost going to dare Ross to call.
18, I think. Yeah, 18.
I'd actually, you know, at this stage,
it's a bit of a gamble for Zach, isn't it? I mean,
no, you're going to bully me like Roy did.
He's mentally committed for the rest of his
stack. Of course he is.
He's past that stage now.
It's all
I'll see you laying down to 16.
Might not be good enough to pass this now.
18. Whatever.
It's kind of tempting for Ross, isn't it?
Pass.
It is tempting. It is.
So tempting that you think the guy must have a big pair.
Exactly. That's why he made the smaller raise. Sometimes a smaller raise is more powerful than a big one. It was interesting reading the contract for this tournament. I had a Mad Marty Wilson. It's actually his official name now on the thing, with Mad in apostrophes.
Yeah,
he's tournament director.
He's had it legally changed, has Marty. Marty's actually his middle name. You could just call him Mad Wilson.
Pass.
Actually been invited to appear as a contestant in the celebrity edition of Win with Wilson.
It's a great game. It's taken over the nation.
Sweeping the nation.
And Zach here also not putting his whole stack in, but very likely to be committed with the rest of them. He's got 18 in and 19 back. And now he's got 9 more. Tell you what, that ace-10 that he folded earlier, which to some looked like an automatic call, Zach's managing to put some play in the remaining 30,000. Up to 48 now.
Yeah, you can get yourself back in the game.
6,000 on plant. And it's funny, Ross, who we were talking about, has lost a couple of big pots, is actually not that far from his peak. He's got 150. Imagine he's feeling pretty good about things.
17,000 total.
This is 3 in a row now for Simon Zach.
But he's had the best hand every time.
Yeah.
You know, he's still at the bottom of the pile, but he's catching up. The 3 Bs out in front: Brindley, Boatman, and Broadhurst.
The 3 Bs. They call them the Bees. That was J.J. Cale said that. Call me the Bees. Maybe it was Eric Clapton. I don't know. And time to take his foot off.
Sorry to disappoint.
Pass. Call. Pass.
Call.
Call.
When it gets to this level, 3 and 6,000, that limp in by Dave Broadhurst starts looking a little scary, doesn't it?
It does.
No raise.
The blinds are worth picking up, and I don't know if anyone's cottoned on to the fact that his pre-flop play is barely is nothing more than raise with a big hand and limp with a smaller one. But
Well, Howard just
Ace
went
king
with
and
the
above
nines
is-
here. I mean, would you have stuck a raise in with that?
no, because out of position, the guy's probably calling if he.
Check.
It's a great flop for the steel man. Top pair, king high flush draw.
It is as good a flop as he could hope to get.
Check.
But he won't be checking.
15,000.
And
Pass.
Pass.
Howard can get away from it. What is Ross thinking about?
Ross is passing two. He's got that Ross Boatman look where you may or may not have it. I don't totally believe you, but
Pass.
A little kitty there for the steel man.
I think if Ross wasn't an actor or a poker player, he could have been a nightclub bouncer. He's got that sort of face that says, "Sorry, you're wearing trainers. You're not coming in."
Yeah, I mean, I think most of his parts seems to get typecast as a gangster in the gangster movies and as a gangster in the other movies as well. Good heavy. This is a raise in hand for them.
Raise to 12,000
Dave.
total. Pass. Pass.
Broadhurst, part of that Birmingham crew that 30 years ago would have been on the scene. Himself and Dave Finney and Mickey Wernick. And it's not a big raise, is it?
I'd love to have played tournaments 30 years ago.
There wasn't much money around. I mean, the fact that it's only, geez, 9,000 on Ross, is there an argument for just calling here?
It's so difficult to define king, queen, king, jack, those sort of hands. You just don't know where you are when you hit.
Call.
He figures himself to be, a superior player. He can.
You might have leaned towards a fold even there, even though it's a very small raise.
It's just a question of feel on the table, how you feel the situation is. So much of this game is about instinct. If you're finely tuned in your instinct, you can find out if you have a best hand, or a non-best hand that might get someone else to fold. So it's all that question. But here we are, and
Check. Check.
wow.
It's just nothing but all the chips are going in.
20,000.
It's funny, this is the situation Ross wanted, and yet the situation he probably didn't want. Top pair. And now he's going to have to spend a lot of money to find out.
I don't think he can do anything else, but he's called a raise with king queen.
Raise.
Raise.
All in.
All in. Pass.
And he's at least given Broadhurst something to think about. Dave will...
Insta-call.
I got the nut flush, says Broadhurst. I mean, these hands aren't that far away, are they, percentage-wise, or...?
No, the king queen is a slight favourite. It's not going to be more than 55%.
Well, the situation, of course, is that...
and it's for a massive chip lead.
It is, because, I mean, Boatman covers Broadhurst, but only by, geez, like 10,000 or so. There's the heart! And he's drawn dead now, Ross Boatman. He's going to be crippled in this one pot.
You got me covered?
No, you got me.
And,
good, I think.
I mean, Roland,
No, I fancy it, yeah.
all you can say about that...
Two arts come.
Okay, can we have a count?
is this an
It
argument
ended
for...
up nuts against second nuts.
Right. Nuts against second nuts it ended up. My gosh. Hard on the river. I mean...
You see, in these sort of situations, you can't really back down. In other spots where there's more forgiving structure, Ross could have got away, but here there was no getting away from it.
It's just sort of a tactical decision about whether or not you want to play a pot there, and that was what Ross decided.
Once the flop comes down, there's no getting away from it.
Yeah.
There's so many other hands that he's crushing a king jack that he can get action from.
Ross did give Broadhurst a chance to fold, but you could understand why Dave didn't want to. The
Yeah, an
nut flush
overcard
draw.
and nut flush draw.
Yeah. already put money in.
There's a lot invested. I would probably advise Broadhurst to call there. It's a good spot for his money.
Yeah, it's looking like a pretty good spot now, especially, isn't it? I mean, Steelman hit the flush, and yeah.
It started so well for Ross Boatman, but he's.
And I tell you what, the Steelman has sent out a message there to the table that he's not scared to gamble, and that's why he's got the chips.
I've been impressed with Broadhurst. In fact, all of the players have shown something today.
Yeah.
12,000.
Now we get to see Ross Boatman's famed short stack play.
Call me a cab, Marty. I don't mean call me a cab, I mean phone one up for me.
Yeah, hang on a minute. Simon will give you a lift home.
That's really good.
Yeah, because he's not giving me one.
Seats. He won't be in one of them.
He was giving me a lift home. He won't be waiting to give me one now. Is anybody going north today?
This match has been played in a great spirit. Broadhurst now, a pretty big chip leader. I wonder how he's going to handle it, the Steelman. He'd love to win this. I mean, he's been very close a couple times. But as I said, I think by his own admission, he's been a little lacking in the right arm department. He hasn't showed any lacking in the right arm department tonight.
He's come here to win. Steely determination from the Steelman. Steely Dave Broadhurst.
What price would you make Ross here? He's in trouble, isn't he?
Well, I tell you, that 5 to 2 that I was looking now is that I offered you earlier, and you wanted 2 to 1, Jesse.
Well, you seem to.
I sort of knew what I was talking about in that,
All in.
in that one.
Little.
Pass.
I have to admit, you did.
Pass.
And it's good night from Ross Boatman.
I'll be back.
Much better.
12.
Has he got 2 overcards?
I don't know. I saw some paint there. Roy's definitely got the 2 10s. Ross hasn't stood up yet, so he definitely.
Have a go at Queen Jack.
Darn, you're good. It is 33,000 in there, so I mean, the fact is, if Ross can hit here, he's going to start thinking pretty seriously.
Good night, Irene.
That's a nice swap, isn't it?
Yeah, he's not going to really think too seriously now, is he?
Club.
You can always, when the guy stands up, it's never a good sign.
Club, running straight.
Practically favourite.
You're drawing dead.
Oh, jeez. 310 for White Brindley.
Cheers, mate. See ya.
Rocky Ross Boatman.
Davies, Ross. Good shot.
Very impressive in spurts today, Ross, but
Favourite.
the coups, the big coups, he couldn't get through. But his last 12,000 in on the race, and the 10 on the flop ended it.
I made one mistake against Howard. Thought I might be able to make him lay down. Obviously he had a bigger hand than I realised. But apart from that, I think I played pretty much perfect. The big pot that I lost, I got it in with the best hand. Obviously Davey had a hand he had to call with. And unfortunately for me, it went his way.
A black, a white, a red, and a green. So right now,
I'll try my best.
it is Dave
Elementary colours with Jesse May.
Look at Howard instead, he'll cool down.
Howard. I'm trying to figure out what was on this. It looked like he just left the hospital. It turns out that's the VIP pass that lets get you into all the clubs in Blackpool. Not like Howard needs a pass to get into clubs in Blackpool.
Pass.
Just show up at the
You were
front
actually
door.
winding me up when you said he was sponsored by the local Arbitorium.
I was.
I fell for it.
I didn't know at the time.
Well, some of the players you see in these heat are sponsored by online poker sites. That's so hard to believe when you see them play.
Dave has played tricky here with the ace. Can he? Is that a trap?
10,000. Pass.
Well, that doesn't seem to be fooled. Always got a good nose for these things. I'm telling you, he's always he's got a flawless game in this format, Roland. I'm telling you, I think people could do to watch the way Roy plays these things. No reason to waste chips them first 2 levels. Unless you're really good.
Yeah, no, he doesn't make many mistakes here, boy.
Pass.
I was getting a bit of a complex, Simon.
You know, a lot of these things are about
Call.
discipline, and you can play
We're
too
all friends
fancy
here.
early on,
No race.
do
I
too
don't
many
say that.
things.
Say we're all
Sometimes the
friends, no
simplest
race
thing
now.
in poker is the best
No
one.
race.
Just,
I mean, we've seen a lot of big names in this World Open come in and murder their chips early on.
well, Roy's
6,000.
putting a little steal in here.
Pass.
Broadhurst has got 2 ways to hit the straight. How does he want to play it?
I know how he should play it.
Right?
He should be raising. I don't think he will.
Call.
And it's going to be hard for Roy to find another bullet, isn't it?
9 of clubs would be an interesting card.
Check.
What?
10,000. Pass.
Well played, Dave Broadhurst.
Yeah,
He takes it down with the bell.
I think that's the second time somebody checks to him on the turn with nothing, and he just fires.
He knows that checking invariably is a sign of weakness, and he's taking advantage of that. He's been impressive today.
Broadhurst closing in on half the chips, and really, it looks
Have to
like
sort
a
out
match
another
between
leg for
him
the
and
middle of
Roy.
this table with the weight of all
Although
these
Howard,
chips.
It looks like a bit of
Just
cheese
there.
that I found in my fridge that I left in there before I went to Las Vegas. 3 months later, I came back. I really shouldn't have eaten it, but I was too lazy to move. And too ill to move for the next 2 days after eating.
Well, I mean, I thought the cheese was supposed to have mold in it anyway.
That's just what Mickey tells you when
Call.
she can't be bothered to buy new ones.
That's okay.
But then it's Dave Broadhurst. That's probably going to bring Howard in here for 3.
Call.
Dave's had a lot of playable hands tonight. I mean, he hasn't exactly had any huge hands, but a lot of playable ones. I'm all in.
Raised all in.
It's not really that big a raise, is it? 34,000 more.
Not when you've got half the chips in play.
Would you be tempted here with Dave Broadhurst's hand?
How much is that?
I'd be tempted to fold, but I probably wouldn't. You know, your wife Mickey's a fantastic
34,000.
photographer, one of the best in poker, but she still hasn't managed to make me look thin in any photo.
She's just taking him from the wrong side.
I
Roll.
think so. You never want to be on my right, so they told me.
Have you got kicker from?
Pass.
I got a kicker.
Simon's trying to... I don't know if he's trying to talk someone into calling or out of call. I don't think he knew either.
No, I don't either.
So that 9-10 hearts is kind of fun because, I mean, you're never going to be in terrible shape, are you? Unless you're up against the 2-10s, maybe. I mean,
Okay, 3-6, please, gentlemen.
I mean, it just depends what sort of shape you. For me, I'll never be in that terrible shape. After 2 cards, the other guy's probably drawing dead.
but Zach pulled himself back up by his bootstraps a little bit.
Pass.
What do you think of that? Roy folded the ace.
A weak ace is no
Pass.
good. You can't do anything to a raise.
Call.
Simon getting tricky.
No raise.
No raise.
Yeah, he's gonna have to check a few times to get Broadhurst to catch up.
Yep, it's not a nice
Check.
flop either for Simon Zach.
Check.
Check.
It's gonna start getting to the
A
point
4
where
will be interesting. But no.
Check, check.
Simon's just thinking, please let him hit something or bet. Now it looks.
he can't check here because he'd be so embarrassed to turn him over.
11,000. Pass.
Order. He tried everything, but in the end, there was nothing doing. He was never going to get any money out of that. So
No.
it's not a bad strategy.
I mean, in this format, you do have to try and get maximum value out of some hands, don't you?
Of course, as I said, the big hands don't come around very often, and You know, sometimes you've got to even play them riskily and risk going broke for the hope of getting chips.
Oh, I mean, some of the stuff you did with Juha Helpli in the Premier League was abominable. call, raise on the river. It was great.
I pass.
Blind on blind.
Pass.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, Juha and I.
Pass.
Juha's one of the top robots in Finland. And I think he's actually officially made by Nokia, but we've got a long history
Raise
going back. We played
15,000
heads
more.
up in
Pass.
WPT. We played all over the world against each other. We're good friends as well. And, his mission is just to beat me at something.
How many hands
He
do I
says
have?
Scrabble,
Anybody
checkers, anything. But so far he's yet to do it.
You guys played some of them. But it was some of the most interesting
Sit left.
blind on blind hands where nobody had a pair and the pot still managed to get big that I've ever seen.
Is that so you can move on my blind again?
Sorry, Howard, you have to pay the blinds. People take offence to raising their blind, but once you put the money in the pot, it's gone. You can play out the hand out of position, but I've never been a great one for defending blinds. I'd rather take someone else's.
Yeah, a lot of players take it very
18,000
personally.
total,
Devilfish comes to mind
Pass.
when people attack their big
Pass.
blinds.
Simon now
I will
feels
actually
just
watch
about
this.
like vomiting.
On TV, this one.
He's gotten queens, he's gotten kings, he's got no action. The good news for Simon is
I'll be impressed to
he's
watch
put
it
himself
together.
in from out to in, hasn't he?
Yeah, with a little help from the cards, I mean,
Delicious.
Okay, Simon.
You know, the blinds are going to go up to 5 and 10,000 pretty soon. You know, it's going to be of no help to these guys.
no, 6 or 7 big blinds they'll have the 2 short stacks.
Call.
Straight ahead
Pass.
from the steel man.
Cool.
Call.
Will he be pushing on a flop? Has he called out of position?
Seems like he's not bothered about people taking off flops. I mean, if
No raise.
I don't really like the limp with ace-7 from Broadhurst.
I just wonder, Roland, if his feeling is that he's got enough chips that he doesn't really. He's not really bothered about losing 6 and 7 here. I guess the problem is that he's allowing other people to pick up 6 and 7.
Exactly. Take those blinds. I mean, you're putting money in the pot where for a few shekels extra, you could actually take the pot
Pass.
down. You're never going to win a huge hand with ace-7
Pass.
unless you hit miracles.
That's bluff.
Much better just to try and take the blinds.
Bluff.
It was actually.
Blackpool wristband, rock and roll.
Howard can now get his car parked in any car park in Blackpool with those wristbands.
No, it's very easy getting your car parked in any car park in Blackpool, but with that wristband, you actually can get it back.
12 to play.
Raise to 12,000 total. Pass.
You need to get the VIP wristband though to get the tyres back
Right.
Call.
and the hubcap.
To get the clamp off. Broadhurst peeling off a flop here. I mean, Howard made it very cheap. I don't know who's happier about this.
I'd say on the flop probably Howard.
Right.
Check.
You never want it. You're never happy calling a raise out of position from the blinds.
15,000.
Well, what is your theory on the
Pass.
minimum raise before the flop? How often do you use it?
I use it quite a lot. If I have a lot of chips and I'm varying it with position against players who I think that I can outplay after the flop. I like to put in a raise to take some initiative, but
Have some water, please.
not to commit too many of my chips to the hand.
3-4 diamonds, for instance.
There's a bottle.
Fantastic hand.
Fantastic for the minimum raise.
Cheers, man. No worries.
Cancel that.
I'm a 2-5-6 flopper.
Roy in the big. This is very close to the end of the level, and I mean, obviously the level has been very good for Dave Broadhurst. I think actually
Pass.
every player is sort of feeling good about this level. They've all made chips except for Ross Boatman.
Raise.
Yeah, Ross has not had a good
16,000
level so
total.
far, but
he's a real 5 and 10,000 man.
I don't think he's going to lose another hand in the whole
Oh.
event. That's my prediction.
It was I've lost this action. I think Simon Zach has raised his pot, and Roy's called with the ace-3 in the big blind. What
Check.
is this about?
All in. Pass.
Called for about 15,000, I think. A loose call with the ace-3, wasn't it?
It was. You can get itchy feet if you have a couple of rounds with nothing at these levels. You always want to be moving on, and mentally if you have a couple, even if you've got chips, if you have mentally a couple of rounds when people start catching up with you and you do nothing, you start to get a bit trigger happy.
Yeah. Happy now.
Pass.
That's exactly what Simon said. He just said, "Hey guys, I'm back in this." And
Pass.
I'm all in.
it's just exactly what you said was happening. Roy looked over at Howard and just saw those blinds there and started feeling very trigger happy, but he settled himself down.
It is.
He would have been in pain.
Three six.
3-6 is almost over.
And everybody's so
Actually,
chatty
the last
this
hand of the
morning.
level, actually.
There's something in the water.
It is indeed.
Pass.
And Brindley hasn't gotten that many look-ins. This is one of the first times he's had a
Raise to
look-in this
15,000
level.
total.
First option to raise. Wonder if that's going through Howard's mind. There's something at a table, Roland, isn't there? I mean, there's sometimes when a guy hasn't raised in a long time, but then it's also that he hasn't had an opportunity to raise in a long time. And
Pass.
can you sometimes pick off that even though he hasn't raised in a long time,
Yeah,
he's
they all
liable
upset
to
him,
not
don't
have anything because he hasn't. This is his first
Pass.
chance.
I was going to call, but you might have done some kamikaze trick.
Well, it is the end of the third level, and Broadhurst and Brindley in the upper tier, and Plant and Zach bottom. Alphabetical text, actually.
Makes it easy for you. Except Brindley is before Broadhurst in the alphabet. Apart from the fact,
Apart from that, I mean.
I generally comes before O, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, but besides that, the blind's 5 and 10,000 now. And I think Zach is wondering if he's got a bet that's not all in.
I can't play that.
Wonder what he had, I guess.
I get shouted at now for not putting them on the glass.
You are indeed getting shouted at for not putting your cards on the glass. I mean, I'm probably good enough to tell you what those cards are.
Tom.
I think actually what we've got here, the order of the chip stacks is...
This time he's getting a 10 in his hand. I think Simon Zach's going to get a 10.
Pass.
How important it is for Zach to go all in here. It's compulsory, isn't it?
You can make it 28.
Raise to 36,000 total.
I mean, 28. 28 you could actually fold to a re-raise, couldn't you?
Yeah, again, you're giving people equity with like pocket fours and small pairs and eight hands they would otherwise fold.
Right. It's funny, just some people enjoy when this becomes a blunt sword, and some people just don't like having those options taken out of their hand.
It takes obviously the more hands and the more options you have, the more variants there are and the more skill that comes into it with the options. So it does play into the hands of the less skillful players. I don't think anyone can deny that, but it is what it is, and it makes for good TV. You know, there's exciting hands, money going in the middle, and showdowns, and there is definitely a strategy to these formats.
Yeah.
And even more so once you reach the semi-final stage and it's top 2 or top 3 go through.
I think the pressure has just... There's a 9. I think you get to a point in these things, these players, when all of a sudden they realize, geez, if I don't mess up,
35.
I've got a really good chance. And Roy has definitely cranked it up a gear. Decision time for Zach.
It's all in.
No, it's not, is it?
It's definitely all in or fold, but it should be all in.
Why?
Because Roy has such a wide raising hand range here. I mean,
has Brindley done a lot to convince Zach of his image, or is it something Zach should know, or is it just that we know it because we've seen the cards?
No, I mean, you have to put people on a range of hands that they could be raising with, from aces down to the minimum that they could raise, and Roy Brindley has a very wide range. I mean, he has been playing fairly solid, but he still has a wide range on the button in this format with the chips as they are. And
so Ace-5, it does well in the long run against that range of hands. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. The problem is that Simon's thinking is, do I have enough to make Roy pass?
That range of hands.
Well, do I have enough to make him pass anything? And it's borderline. An Ace-5 is never going to be crushing anything. It could be a head, it's never going to be crushing. So you could make a case for it being a marginal decision.
I think I've left the central heating on.
If Brindley raised this one again, this is 2 in a row here to 30,000, and Broadhurst has decided to call. Roy might win this. Dave might also lead. Oh, this is good, isn't it?
20,000.
What would you call that? Stop and go? 50. Oh my, what would you call that?
Maybe 30, 50.
Roy's read it exactly right. He's seen the lead out as weakness. As either weakness or an exploratory bet, because this sort of flop... Wow. This is fantastic.
It really is. And
this is the best pot we played in the heat. I mean, both have got absolutely nothing.
Just steel backbone here by the steel man?
All in.
All in.
Oh, wow! What has he done to Roy? He's crushed him.
Is a queen eye good?
That's fantastic play from Dave Broadhurst. He really has shown a side of his game that I didn't know he had. And underneath that big massive hair lurks a sharp brain. I mean, that is really good play. He's called on the flop. He's bet out on the flop with nothing. He's called a raise on the flop to bluff the turn, and he's done fantastically well.
But Roland, I mean, the only way you can explain it is that he just took an opinion early that Roy didn't have anything.
It's a great read. I mean, Roy has done really nothing wrong in this hand. He played it well, but he has just been outplayed without really doing anything wrong. The reverse position, acting first after the turn card, gave Dave Broadhurst to take the move away from Roy, which I think Roy would have made anyway. So you can't really fault Roy. It's just excellent poker from Dave Broadhurst.
I mean, could Roy have called with a hand that even beat Broadhurst, like Ace King?
He shows it. Shows the ace.
Wow, he showed it to him too.
It's not so much the move on the turn. It's the calling the raise on the flop. It's just an absolute disrespect for Roy Brindley there.
It was. I mean, how could you call that race on the flop? It's amazing.
Welcome back to the partypoker.net World Open 3. The flop, the turn and river can cause heads to turn as some double up and some are sent packing. Let's get back to the game to find out who gets lucky and who's sent out.
Nice bit of legwork that.
Broadhurst was the chip leader. Now he's the big chip leader. He's taken Roy down to 95,000. Is Brindley out of it?
No one's out of it, but it's...
Not an accident that Dave has those chips, is it?
Cool. No raise.
What a fantastic play, but I think the whole table's in a bit of shock now. They think the guy with the chips is a contender.
They are. And, I mean, the people who have seen Broadhurst play in this format before, there's players, I'm sure Simon Zakas and Howard have played with Dave several times before. They must be completely shocked, because this is a new steel man. Obviously, he's always had it in him, but...
How's that, thanks?
But just to bring it out of the back pocket is. God, do you think he woke up this morning and said, "I'm going to run over those guys"?
He said two-pair.
He's played excellently.
He did.
A couple of moves early on. I still don't like his. He's got too much calling in his game.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was a fantastic move there. I mean,
What did he say then?
I'm not putting me cards in the box right.
You can't. You've got too many chips in the way.
he's probably folding. You're probably folding ace king. Let alone the queen high that Roy had. He was going to make you fold a big high card there.
Yeah. I'm all in.
All in.
Come over the top of this one, says Simon Zach.
Might be blind again.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean,
you can have it back now.
Because as you said, Roy actually played the pot very well. I wonder if at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to have the best hand.
Position's very important. Sometimes position is actually being out of position. You have to act first on the flop, so you get to make the move. I'm sure if there is a check there, then Roy is going to act.
It makes you feel really. That's why Ross made that overbet early, isn't it?
Yes, it is indeed. I know one thing that I know Roy doesn't like that. He doesn't like being outplayed like that on TV.
I didn't really want to get knocked out of deuce 6. It's embarrassing, isn't it, when you go home and they say deuce 6?
Pass.
Deuce 6.
There's a Roy all in.
Pass.
And
Just squeeze.
Roy's got 105,000. I mean,
No.
it's a question of just your style there. If you want to put some chips in or all of them.
All in is a strong play now. It's got to the stage where it's just put the money in and hope no one has a big hand. With that
How many hands have we played then?
You can't really waste a 30 and then pass for your last 50.
70.
17.
It's kind of like everybody speaks English, but if you could only speak in the subjunctive?
Pass.
Cool.
Because I'd have to figure out what the subjunctive is.
I have to have a dictionary after speaking to you.
Blind on blind. And this is another chance for Broadhurst to not let the guys have the free flop.
I don't know where you're getting all these fancy words from. It's certainly not Ian Fraser.
No. Speaking of, Greekfish taught me a new word yesterday. Bottle. I love it. It's my favorite word now. Bottle. Lord, that man's got bottle.
He's got a lot of bottle.
Yeah, that's what it is. A lot of bottle. Bottle.
Alright. Lines 50, 10 fouls. Thing is, I'd rather raise here with... I'm Dave Elliott. I'd rather be raising here with, any two cards. Play back at me.
Hit the broad for some choice.
He ain't got position. It's not what we're going to be doing, is it? Like,
I think he meant this level.
Howard Plant. This level has been, I'd say, most eventful for Roy to Boy, but he's playing himself back into things. And I wouldn't be surprised if Roy...
Raise.
25 more.
25,000 to
Tell you what, he's got a hard head, Roy, hasn't he? Because the last time he did that to Dave Broadhurst, he got knocked. Well, that was one of those pots there, wasn't it, though, Roland?
it is. You've got to open it. You've got to open for a raise. Phil Hellmuth will tell you that. He's possibly the greatest no-limit tournament player on the planet.
How many bracelets does he have?
10 bracelets. Can you believe that?
Last time I played, I had about kings 8 times.
I told him he's not even the best player called Phil.
And aces once, no race. And
Did you win that
best
8?
hands. No, don't know how much. So I was out.
Roy trying to get a free flop and Howard
I got the
agreeing.
best hands you can imagine. The only time I ever got any action
Roy
was when he
seems more
re-raised me
interested in
with,
the board than the story.
First to bet
I'll have
wins.
to have a look now.
This is an automatic bet.
Yeah.
For me.
When he re-raised me, we raised
How
4 and
much?
the ace on the
Howard's
flop.
only
That's the
got
only time I any
80,000.
action with the king.
70 back.
11,000 is fine. You have to bet there.
10,000.
You see, first to bet wins.
It's funny how you say, gosh, that it looks so much like a steal, but if you're sitting down there, it's tough to call, isn't it?
Of course, out of position, calling off 10,000. You know, Roy's only got 140,000.
Roy has made about 45,000 lately, but Broadhurst got the best of it. And is Howard Plant slipping away? Is Simon Zach, for that matter?
They're still just about in the range where a double up puts them back into contention. So they'll still feel that they're in the game at this point.
Cool.
Cool.
I remember beating Phil Ivey for a significant amount in his house at Chinese. Then riding over to Bellagio and he's driving at 120 miles an hour in his Aston Martin until I tell him to slow down, and then he really gets mad.
You in the back seat.
My stomach was in the boot.
Oh, okay.
You know, this has been a limp from Howard on the button. Everybody else kind of forced in, and Broadhurst with the 6 deuce actually has the best hand. There's 30,000 in there. That's 5% of the chips in play. And Simon,
10,000.
They wait till they're behind.
Howard and Zach actually have the best hand. Tied pot hand.
Oh.
Very difficult to overcall here.
I think so. Especially, I mean, what's going through his head?
If you know he doesn't have a queen, his kicker doesn't play, but he is getting fantastic odds, but he may only be splitting it. It's so hard to overcall. It's a very, very rarely you're good when you overcall.
I'm really going to think about it. I mean,
it's most important, what does he put Howard Plant on? You know, the guy can be betting with anything. But seriously, is he really going to have both of them beat? It's so difficult to think you're going to have both players beat.
it looks like Broadhurst either has a huge hand or nothing, so raising wouldn't be a good idea here, would it?
No.
Pass. You would have done that.
I think I would pass there. I don't like to pass in any situation, but I think I found one I could.
Sorry, what are you doing?
Oh, sorry. It's alright, it's alright.
That was an odd hand, wasn't it? Broadhurst waited until he was sure he was good, and that was actually the moment he went behind.
Chop it.
Actually went from first to third there. It's interesting. I mean, Howard made what was
20,000 for me, 10.
some would say was not a recommended play by limping in on the button, and it's just worked out perfect for him. I mean, it couldn't have worked out any better than that.
I'm in front of you, but it's a chop.
Maximized his profit.
You know, if you consider yourself to be an excellent post-flop player, I mean, there could be a time when you'd limp on the button, but not when the stacks are this shallow. Try and take the pot with the blinds, and if you get resistance, then get out of the way.
That's what Howard's doing here. He's found at least one ace. 30 ball. And that's all sure open.
Six hands left at this level. 2 hands left at this level.
About 3. That's just what Simon needed.
Right.
And I mean, it's either fortunate or unfortunate for him. All the times he's had real big cards, he's had no chips. Just taking the blinds is probably going to be okay.
Yeah, we'll see when it's on telly, won't we? 6 deuce.
It's a funny feeling when you don't get action on your big hands.
I'm not a rock, you know.
He's gotten 2 queens
Right.
twice and 2 kings once, Simon, and he's...
It's like having a big pair like that, not getting any action.
Raise to 40,000.
It's rather like eating ready salted crisps. You know, it does fill you up a bit, but it doesn't taste very good in the mouth.
It's like having scratchings for dinner.
Mickey's cooking.
Unfortunately for her, I'm the cook.
What's your speciality?
Scratchings.
I'm getting bored. I think I'm going to have to do something stupid.
Good lad. Is that sort of a Howard sort of threatening the table?
But not this hand.
Oh. He's kind of winding them up. In case he picks up something big, it'll look like a bluff.
In a raise.
Raise. 20,000 is the raise.
From what you've seen of... Wow! I was just going to say, from what you've seen of Broadhurst tonight, I feel like if I had a hand like Zach, I'd rather have gotten those chips in first and not made a small raise. I would have been scared. Anyway.
Now it's down to the cards.
Can't blame Broadhurst for pushing here, can you? He's got a chance to take Zach out.
No,
Zach,
it's
of
a coin
course.
flip.
Yep.
And it's no longer a coin flip.
No, not unless you have a lot of coins. Not sure what that means. Broadhurst has gone to the lead here.
3 outs twice for Zach. It's looking grim now. An ace or only an ace. He's battled hard.
He has, and he'll feel a bit sort of rueful. There's a
But
straight
it's back to
move.
Blackpool.
He'll feel a bit rueful that he got a bunch of big pairs and just couldn't get on with them. Managed
I
to
know you mean it.
have to go on with the ace-5. Zach looking to get on, and Broadhurst accommodated well. Top pair on the flop, the straight on the river. That's all.
I didn't get any action when I had the hands, and then when I've got a hand and raised, and Dave's come over the top with Jack Queen. I've got ace-5. A compulsory call really. I think the blinds were going up in about 3 or 4 hands, and he and I missed. Got my money in front and missed.
Raise to 50,000 total. Pass.
Uh-oh. This is great news for Brindley, and Broadhurst might try and take him out here.
Call.
Big raise it was. I think it was up to about...
Don't leave me alone with him, Roy.
Up to 50,000.
Try not to.
Man's an animal.
And
Don't leave him
Broadhurst
alone
peeled
with
off
me.
the flop. If it comes to king, it'll be the end of Roy, won't it? Oh, wow.
Wow.
Case queen.
All in.
Cool.
All in. Call.
Well, Broadhurst moved with the top pair. You can't really blame him. He was trying to put Roy under pressure, but with 3 queens, Brindley looking like a double up.
It looks great for Roy Brindley now. He's going to swap positions with Dave Broadhurst.
It's a bit of a cold deck, really, for Broadhurst. I mean, that's actually given...
A 10. A 10 would win it. Wouldn't that be cool?
This is not going
Come on to the
deep.
heading of a bad beat, but Broadhurst drawing live.
Roy looks worried, but no. Full house. The case queen high flop, and Brindley looks in good shape now.
That is how quick it can swing.
Good timing.
Yeah, that's 100 there.
It's very important in this situation to think your bets through, just to go all in without thinking of it. You don't have to go that far all in. He was unlucky to run into top set against top pair.
No.
But he hasn't. He played very well when he had a medium stack and hasn't actually managed to put a foot right once he's got the big stack. I don't think he's won a pot since he won the...
You know what? I think you're right. I think he's lost every pot
It's
since
only
then, has
history,
Broadhurst. How is he going to react now? He's still got
Well, we've only met today.
nearly average chips.
Yeah, I mean,
David.
maybe he's at a stack now that he's more comfortable playing.
Sorry.
it's this format. It's all about sealing the deal, and until you've been there before and done it, of course, it is an elusive prospect.
I'm all in.
All in.
52 total.
The VIP man, Howard.
This is the first time you've seen Ace King in this whole event.
Pass.
You're right. That's odd.
Don't be shy, your mum wasn't.
Thank you. Like making a no-looky call.
Don't look then.
Cool.
Cool.
Oops. Nice hand. I've got a better hand than that at the moment. Good luck, right? I'd say good luck, but I don't think you need it.
I hope you're right, mate. I'll get it ready for you just in case.
Good lad. Unlucky. That's a dangerous flop, innit? You can miss this though. Quite easy miss this. We need a 5, a 7, an 8 or a 10. Yeah, good call. Unlucky.
That's trouble for Howard.
Yeah.
Unlucky, as he says.
I can still get out of this.
He needs an ace or a king. You know, Howard kind of goaded Roy into calling. I mean, obviously...
He said, don't be shy, your mum wasn't. Gone.
Good call.
And Roy has
See you,
done
Dave.
him
Bye,
up.
Howard.
Good call by Roy. I think he had the odds to
Yeah, no
call.
worries.
He had the chips. Howard's not going to be pleased, but...
Then there was 2.
Well, it was the nicest hand Howard Plant has picked up all night, the ace-king, and he wanted Roy to call, but not when the flop came down. And then the 7 on the turn, of course, sealed the deal, kind of, for Roy Brindley. Plant couldn't catch, and he's out in third. We're head up here, Roland.
I mean, I got all my money in with Ace King, and Roy calls with 7-8 offsuit. Good luck to him, you know. He had a result when he flopped trip queens against the King Queen. He got all the chips. He's a very good player. He'll probably. The other guy, David's going to struggle to get him now. And most of the hands, 7 high, deuces in my hand all the time. Couldn't get anywhere really. So it's an early bath.
Head to head. Dave Broadhurst and Roy the Boy. And as you said, Roland, one guy's been here before and has all the chips.
He is. He's got the experience advantage, the chip advantage, and quite clearly the weight advantage.
What, in fact, does Dave Broadhurst have to do? I mean, you look at these stats, and Broadhurst actually bet frequency a little bit higher. He's played more pots.
He's played more, he's lost more, but a lot of those have been limped and folded. He's a limp and fold machine who hasn't really played very well once the big pot went his way. And he's actually played that pot so well, it was the best pot we've seen all day. Possibly all tournament.
Possibly in the whole tournament. If he can pull that form out of his... And
crucially, that was against Roy Brindley.
I just wonder if sometimes the man who has everything to lose against the guy who has nothing to lose is going to start feeling the pressure. Roy will tell you if he asks him that he hasn't exactly been lucky in these head-up situations in his format before. He's in fact had some disaster strike. I think that'll be on his mind.
Check, check.
Why does Broadhurst refuse to bet until he actually has the hand?
There is 20,000, 30,000 out there, in fact. And you feel like Roy was allowed to just sort of win that without really much.
I mean, he played that pot so well, Broadhurst, the big pot. But you start to think, you watch his other things, and you think, is that just a case of a stop clock telling the right time twice a day? I mean,
he's got to find it, doesn't he?
He's playing it rather like a cash game, being very defensive with his money, but the blinds are escalating fast.
In fact, and if Roy is recognizing that, the right thing for him to do, Roland, is to keep playing the small pots, isn't it?
Pass.
No.
Because he's almost giving Broadhurst an advantage by making the pot big for him, or is that?
He's got to chip away.
Would you have never tried to bluff that one?
I was kind of hoping.
I mean, if you think about it, Broadhurst looks unlikely to win a pot when he doesn't have the best hand. So if the luck even breaks roughly even for Roy, he's going to be able to take advantage when they both have nothing.
Probably.
I'd be limping a lot now, knowing that you can take the pot away if
Cool.
he can win. If I was Roy, I'd like to see every flop possible.
Right.
When the guy has a big hand, he's going to let you know.
Raise 35,000 more. Pass.
It does seem like Roy's picked up on that exactly. I mean, if you think back over it, like you said, Broadhurst did play well in the big pot, but Roy has won every small pot with the best or the worst.
I think Broadhurst's most likely chance of winning is either to get one hand against a slightly smaller hand, a big hand against a big hand, or to wait a little while until the blinds get exceedingly high, a couple more levels until they get prohibitive, and then it really does even things out.
This will be a good start for Dave if he can get on.
25.
Okay, on top he's 7.
Yeah.
Makes it 32. Raise of 17.
And well, Roy can be well forgiven for peeling off
Oh.
this, can he?
Suited connectors have a lot of potential.
It's kind of like he tells himself he's not going to call any raise, and then it's a small raise and he's got suited connectors. It's the definition of temptation.
Check.
Check.
They both missed.
Check.
And now Broadhurst knows it's giving away the strength of his hand.
Should Roy bet here no matter what?
I think he's probably going to get called if he
Okay.
bets.
Check.
I think he's probably best off to check.
20,000.
In fact,
Pass.
once the pots get raised, Roy bluffing is a better way for him to lose money than win it.
It is. Because it shows that Broadhurst has a strong starting hand. You're exactly right there, Jesse. It's a very good observation. Play your hands accordingly against Mr. Broadhurst will be the best tactic.
Well, Dave has pulled up to about 160. It's actually a big difference. He's gone from a 4-to-1 chip disadvantage to a 3-to-1. Of course, 3-to-1 means that he could actually end this in 2 hands, which I'm sure Roy is well aware of. In fact, Roy will be acutely
45.
aware of it.
Raise to 45,000 total.
All in.
We raise all in.
Cool.
Call.
It's the match from King 10 against Pocket Sixes, the signature hands.
Well,
Poker brought to you by Eddie and Barry Hearn.
this is what happens when he gets heads up, doesn't it? I mean, you cannot back off the race, can you?
Marginal.
You can't.
And,
May the luckiest man win.
well, I mean, Roy's in a strong position because not only is he...
He's got one free shot.
Right.
Well, he's in a great position now.
He's got a free shot, and Royal, I guarantee he wants to seal it here. On the verge of the semi-finals is Roy the boy.
You think he wants to seal it here?
Oh, yeah.
You think he'd like to go on for another?
No, I don't. Anything but a king or 10.
Mastermind wizard Jesse May.
Broadhurst needs the king or the 10.
It's not there.
Wow.
All right, enjoyed it. Well done.
And
I won
I
the conflict,
tell you
so-
what, more than we've seen out of the Steelman ever. He has really brought his game today, but Roy was nearly flawless, wasn't he?
Solid play there from Roy.
Camera's off and going.
Last hand, the straight race. And Roy had chips in back, but he wanted to finish it. He did. 6s and 3s.
At the final hand, he had a pair of 6s, which I thought he had a King 10, so it's a 50-50 gamble. And he's so far in front in chips, I need to double up to claim.
Roy the boy Brindley showing why I think he is one of the best on the felt. Roy, did it all go according to script there?
Pretty much so. One academic mistake. I tried to make a move on a, dare I say, a weak player. From that point onwards, he came over the top and outplayed me. So it's very easy to win one of these and look back and say, I played great. You've actually got to be a bit more realistic, and there was a couple of hands I played badly. But that happens, that's poker.
You were very conservative early on. Were you trying to set up a table image, or?
No one's listening. That's the coup. That's the coup. Play tight early on, create an image. You know, don't go to war till the blinds are high. The first time you put a chip in the pot, they all recognise you've not been playing, and you're going to get respect. So yeah, it's a bit of the Brindley game plan.
Well, you're into the semis now. Are things going to change when you get there?
There's so many factors. You know, the seating position is vital, where the aggressive players are, the tight players, and of course with the format being what it is, with 3 qualifying. You know, I've been in that spot before, and you know I've failed spectacularly. But I've also come up with a decision that I want to go to the final table with chips, or not be there at all. And I'm not the kind of player that's going to sort of last into 3rd spot and qualify for the final with no chips at all. So so many factors and so much. And of course the cards they're not key, but you know cards help.
Right, last question. I know you're a new dad. You seem like you're in form. Are you having the baby bounce?
Discussing this with some of the snooker players I know, who their form's gone to pieces, as opposed to the golfers who really do shine after having a baby. So yeah, I hope so. I certainly hope so. I can feel it myself. I'm making more final tables now, but not winning them. But of course, I'm getting paid out and cashing for final tables. So I'm probably going to win less tournaments, but I'm probably going to cash more. Hopefully, that's the plan.
Well, best of luck in the semis, Roy. It's getting to be a very tough lineup in the semifinals. But next week, even tougher when the Premier League champion Juha Helppi takes on the crazy horse Ram Vaswani. See you on the partypoker.net World Open 3.